The fire is already lit. Sit down, breathe, and listen. You've been through this before, haven't you? You decide to change, maybe stop drinking, leave a toxic relationship, or simply start valuing yourself more. And then something happens that you didn't expect. The people closest to you start working against you. Not openly, they're more subtle. They make jokes about your new phase. They sabotage your efforts without seeming like they're sabotaging, or they simply distance themselves, as if your transformation were a personal betrayal. That night, Jung revealed a hidden truth that would change everything. Your change isn't a threat to who you were. It's a threat to the system that needs you to remain as you were. Jung discovered that there's an invisible force that keeps people trapped in their old patterns. And when you decide to break free from this force, you're not just changing yourself, you're exposing everyone else's prison. If you've ever felt attacked, sabotaged, or abandoned for trying to evolve, prepare yourself, because Jung unraveled the dark psychology behind human resistance to transformation. And what you discover might hurt, but it can also free you forever. Jung said something that most people don't want to accept. People's greatest fear is not darkness, but light. Here's the first hidden truth. When you change, you become a living mirror of what other people could become, and that's unbearable for those who chose to accept mediocrity. Your decision to stop drinking mirrors their alcoholism. Your courage to leave a toxic relationship mirrors their cowardice to stay. Your choice to value yourself mirrors their low self-esteem. According to Jung, this creates what he called possibility anxiety, the terror of discovering that they too could change, but chose not to. But there's something even more disturbing happening. Jung discovered that people build their identities not just on what they are, but on what you are in relation to them. You're not just the friend who drinks, you're the friend who drinks with them, validating their choice to drink. When you change, you break the mutual validation system that keeps their identities stable. They need you to continue being who you were because it confirms that they're right to continue being who they are. Jung noticed something shocking about human relationships. There's an unconscious contract where people agree not to evolve beyond each other. It's a tacit agreement. I won't make you feel inadequate by growing too much, and you won't make me feel inadequate by growing too much. When you break this contract and decide to grow, you're violating the most fundamental agreement they had with you. And this forces them to choose, evolve alongside you or sabotage your evolution. Most choose sabotage because it's easier to pull you back down than to elevate themselves to your level. Jung made a disturbing discovery about how societies keep their members under control. There's an invisible force that pulls people back to mediocrity whenever they try to transcend it. He called this social gravity, a constant, unconscious pressure for everyone to operate at the same low level of consciousness. When you decide to elevate yourself, you're fighting against a force that's bigger than any individual. You're challenging the very system that keeps society functioning the way it functions. But here's where it gets really dark. Jung realized that the people around you become unconscious guardians of this mediocrity. They don't know they're doing it. It's not conscious, but they become agents of the system, working to keep you in the place where the system needs you to be. They do this through ridicule. Look who's turned into a saint. Emotional sabotage, creating drama just when you're making progress. Emotional blackmail. You've changed. You're not the same anymore. Isolation, excluding you from groups and activities. Jung discovered something even more disturbing. When someone in the group tries to change, They often become the scapegoat for all the problems the group doesn't want to face. Your change becomes the reason things aren't working. Your evolution becomes the explanation for all conflicts. This serves a crucial psychological function. It allows them to continue avoiding their own problems by focusing on the problems your change is causing.
Jung said, what you most need to find will be in the last place you want to look. And here's the hidden truth Jung discovered. The resistance to your change isn't about you. It's about their terror of discovering that they too could change. Every person who sabotages your transformation is, in reality, sabotaging the possibility of their own transformation. They need to prove that change is impossible, dangerous, or fake to justify why they haven't changed. According to Jung, this works through a specific psychological mechanism. They project onto you all the fears they have about change. If they fear that changing will make them lose friends, they'll say you're becoming arrogant. If they fear that changing is superficial, they'll say you're pretending. If they fear that change is temporary, they'll anxiously wait for you to go back to normal. Every criticism they make of your change is, in reality, a confession of their fears about changing. But here's the most disturbing part of Jung's discovery. The more you evolve, the more they need you to fail. Not because they hate you, but because your success in changing proves that their stagnation was a choice, not an inevitability. Jung realized this creates a perverse psychological dynamic where the people who should most support you become unconsciously invested in your failure. They silently root against you, waiting for the moment when they can say, "I knew it wouldn't last." Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But he didn't tell you that this privilege comes with a brutal price: evolutionary loneliness. When you choose to grow, you automatically separate yourself from everyone who chose not to grow. And this includes people you love, who love you, and who can't accompany you on this journey. Jung discovered there's a unique type of loneliness that comes with personal evolution. The loneliness of being a few steps ahead of where everyone else is willing to go. But here's where the dilemma becomes excruciating. Jung discovered you only have two options when facing this resistance. Option 1, go back to what you were to keep the people around you comfortable. Sacrifice your evolution for social harmony. Option 2, continue growing and accept that this might mean losing people who can't evolve with you. Jung called this the authenticity dilemma, the choice between being true to yourself or being accepted by others. Jung discovered something that will shock you. The most evolved people in history were those who chose authenticity over acceptance. They understood that it's better to be alone being who you really are than to be accompanied pretending to be who you're not. But this doesn't make the choice less painful. Jung knew that growing inevitably means leaving some people behind, and they'll hate you for it, even though it's the healthiest thing you could do. The courage to grow is fundamentally the courage to be misunderstood. Jung understood something profound about the evolution of human consciousness. Not everyone evolves at the same time, and not everyone is ready for the same level of development. Most people operate within what he called collective consciousness, a system of shared beliefs, behaviors, and limitations that keeps society functioning predictably. But some people feel an irresistible call to transcend this collective consciousness, not out of arrogance, but out of deep psychological necessity. Jung realized these people serve a crucial evolutionary function. They are the pioneers of consciousness who pave the way for others to evolve in the future. But pioneers always pay the price of misunderstanding. They always face resistance. They always walk, at least for a time, alone. Jung said, "You are what you do, not what you say you're going to do." And if you chose to do the hardest thing a human being can do, evolve, understand that the resistance you face isn't a sign that you're wrong. It's a sign that you're right. That night, watching the flames dance, a final truth revealed itself. The people who turn against you when you change aren't your enemies. They are mirrors, reflecting back the fear they have of their own possibility of transformation. You're not responsible for their courage, only for your own. And maybe, just maybe, your courage to change, even facing all this resistance, is exactly what the world needs to see. Not so that everyone changes immediately, but so they know that change is possible. That night, I understood that growing is an act of rebellion, and that solitary rebels always pave the way for the revolutions to come. And since then, whenever the world weighs heavy, I return to the fire. See you soon.